Our next weave type is a twill weave. And there's twill weaves come in a couple different types. The most common is usually the 2x1, but there could be 2x2. There could be a lot of different variations. And we also talked about left hand versus right hand twill, which is the direction in which it's going. This one we're going to go do a 2x1 twill, and in this case, since this one is moving to our right, that is a right hand twill. So when we look at our weave diagram again, we've got two blank squares here, which means that our warp yarns are under, and then when we get to this colored square here, our warp yarn is up. So what that would look like with yarns, here's our warp yarns that run vertical. That means our first filling yarns, or weft yarns, go under these first two, and then it goes over the next one, and then under the next two. If I had another yarn here, so up, under, that means it would go over the next one. Okay, so what that looks like on our loom, so switch to a different color here, so you can see, is we would start again, remember on our weave diagram, these first two warp yarns were under, so we go 2, 1 is up, 2 is under, 1 is up, 2 is under, 1 is up, 2 is under, is up, and then all the way across. Then we push our yarn through. I have a pretty thick little bundle here. The yarn's thick. Bring it across, kind of straighten out my warp yarn here. I think it's a little under tension. Push our shed down, and push it up. Okay, so that's our first row. When we go back to our weave diagram, we look at our second row. Now the first warp yarn is under, but the second one is up. So now we go 1 under, 1 up, and then 2 by 1. So 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, 1 over, 2 under, 1 over. Push our shed stick up, take our weft yarn back through, put our shed down, straighten it out, and push it up. All right, let's do 2 more rows so you can see what this starts to look like. So now again, let's look at our weave diagram. This time, our first yarn, the warp is up. So 1 is up, under 2, up 1, under 2, all the way, all the way across. Just kind of double check and make sure as you go across that you always have 1 up, 2 under, 1 up, 2 under, all the way across. You can start to see our twill weave come together. So now since this is a 2x1 versus our 1x1 plain weave, you can see that we've got much bigger, what we call floats, that go across the yarn. So you start to get a different weave type here and a different texture. And if you look, you can start to see that diagonal that goes up. If this was a much thinner yarn, not so bulky, and we had a much tighter weave throughout, smaller and tighter, you'd really start to see that diagonal kind of form across it. All right. And then same rules kind of apply as the first one. You can see here I had started showing you how to make a shape. So I pushed my blue yarn up here and just did a plain weave to finish that off. but if you wanted to, you could still continue on with your twill weave, maybe go part way across and then start to switch over and make a shape. Some weaving artists, they'll make almost like a half circle with it. So you really can kind of piece off your wall hanging and create different shapes as you want to, and then introduce new colors and new weave types as you do that. But this is our twill weave, and our next weave technique will be satin weave.